Yes, before I proceed for today's discussion, do you have any queries in yesterday's discussion? What we have already, planned for accounts payable introduction? Any queries you got out of that introduction? What we have discussed?
Clear so far, sir.
Okay.
My side clear.
Fine then. I'll take it as a clear sign. Then let's try to start the implementation of accounts payable. Now, to implement accounts payable, see, this accounts payable activity, what we have discussed yesterday, is all about a functional process. Now, those points which I'm about to, put down in this list is, few points are yours, like if you are a financial consultant, what's your role is different from creation of ledgers, assignment of ledgers and all. Then as an consultant, they have to take care about vendor master data and their rules. Okay, so let me put on all those points first, then we'll go for one-on-one what it is. So very first, the creation of vendor account groups. Okay. Then for this account groups, which is related to vendors, you have to create number ranges as well. Okay. Create number range intervals for vendor accounts. Say you have to assign them. Assign number range indicator to vendor account groups. You have to assign them. So these first 3 points is actually a job of a procurement consultant, so-called guy. But if it is a service client, you must be aware that you know how to create vendor master records and all. Now, while we are taking charge to know about these details, you must be aware of creations as well. Okay, though this is not your concern to look after vendor master data and all. Why? Because you got consultants, one who is a procurement specialist. As you already know that yesterday, while discussing about the roles and the workflow of accounts, this accounts payable department, I informed that they are responsible to look after vendors as well as purchase activity. So all these 3 points, what I have kept in front of you guys, is a sole responsibility of procurement department, okay, or procurement. Now, wherever you are getting an interaction of ledgers or creation of ledgers or any financial activity, you will come into picture. Like the very next activity which I'm going to create here is define tolerance group for customers / vendors. That means if you create tolerance group here in accounts payable, you don't have to repeat this step in accounts receivable. That means whatever the limitations or whatever the revenues and expenses or gain or loss accounts, if you configure here, you don't have to repeat in accounts receivable. Like I said, here also you are responsible to contact your procurement guys. Why? Because they are very well versed with what kind of credit terms which has to be maintained with those vendors and customers. In case of customers, you can sit with us. Okay, we'll see when that screen comes up. Now next, when you create this tolerance group, okay, let it be like that. Then I'll go for creation of reconciliation account. That's nothing but your sundry creditor account, and this is an activity of financial consultant to be created in FS00. You know, we have successfully completed general ledger implementation, and we are aware of how to create ledgers, right? The transaction code FS00 is used to create ledgers. So this is one of the activity which belongs to creation of ledger. So we'll use this transaction code and we'll create sundry creditor. I'll come up in my further explanation about more details which belongs to reconciliation account. Okay, so next point right from here is creation of vendor master data. So when I'm talking about vendor master data, there are three ways to create vendor master data. If you want only a vendor to be used for financial side, then use transaction code SK01, which is used by only finance side, no concern for MM. Now if you want a vendor to be used by MM, I mean procurement, no concern with finance, then use this transaction code MK01. Now the third option for you is to create with XK01, which acts as a central vendor, can be used at procurement, and it is also used in finance. That means, moreover, this transaction code is used to create a vendor if it is used on central level, means for integration. This is nothing but central creation, central level of creation. I hope you understood this. Right. Now, when we create vendor master data, the reconciliation account what you have created must be assigned to this vendor master. Then only your entry purchase to vendor to sundry credit. I hope you know that. Okay. So, creation of vendor master data. Then define a document type and number range. Here, number range is nothing but number range indicator. How many document types will we have used till now?
SA,
AB.
AB is like
Yes.
2, 3 VAs. Yes, sir.
5. Only 2 document types.
No,
The
sir.
reversal document as well.
That is just an indicator. Okay. A number range indicator for referral documents. Okay. So that's not your document type. If you can, call back all those explanations what we have discussed earlier regarding recurring document and sample document. See, when the moment you open recurring document or sample document, you can see SA or AD, any one document, right? So only 2 document types we have used till now. One is SA, that's GL posting, AD, that's accounting document. Now, in this module, probably we are going to use 3 to 4 document types. What's that? KR. This KR is nothing but vendor invoice. K indicates vendor, R indicates invoice. You know that masking, right? I hope you have gone through with global structure. In that, you have seen open and close posting period. In open and close posting period, you have a column which is to be used for account type or masking. How many types of masking?
5, I think.
6.
6.
Excluding plus. I'm not adding plus. Okay.
Okay.
Assets,
Okay.
vendors, customers, GL account, material account, contract account. A, K, D, V, M, S. Remember this. This may be a question from your, project manager, right? So here KR is nothing but vendor invoice. KZ is nothing but vendor payment. KA is nothing but vendor document. Vendor document in the sense some reversals, some adjustments. If it is a clear document, then you can use KA. One more is there, that is KG, which is used for credit note and all. Mostly these 3 document types are very much common. Now, each document type have a standard indicator, like for SA01, AB for 01. Here also for KR19, okay, KZ is 15, okay, then KA is 70. Okay, remember that. Okay, for these 3 indicators we have to create number range, and we'll go for FBN1 as a transaction code. If we know the indicator, if you don't need the indicator, use transaction code OBS7. Okay, then double click on each document type to know the indicator. Now based on that indicator, you can create number range in FBN1. The first transaction code will take you through an indicator to create number ranges here. Like I said, if you are aware of these standard indicators, which is default from SAP or standard by SAP, then directly go to FDN1. The way we have created number range for FA, the same way you can create number ranges for these documents. Okay, right. Right from next, these are those points which are related to a core configuration activity. Now, like I said, some are configuration related to consultants, they have to decide what it is, and some are related to master data, like, reconciliation account belongs to master data, vendor master data is a master data. So these two jobs is an end user job. Is it clear now? So right after this, you are very much fit to look after your end user duties. Okay. So what's your end user activity? When you complete this configuration, is the very first activity is you are ready to post a transaction. What's that transaction? Posting of vendor invoice. Vendor invoice. It's also known as purchase invoice. Okay. You can post purchase invoice by using a transaction code FD43 if it is a complex entry, or else you can use transaction code FD60 if it is an enjoyed posting. Remember that. Yes, if there is an integration of FI and MM, if it is a stock invoice, okay, if it is a stock invoice or items are added to an invoice, please go with my role. Yesterday I already declared the details. Any confusion? No, right? I hope now it's clear. Right after, he has to keep an eye on all open items. Whenever you need to go through with analysis of vendor records, your primary concern is to look into the open items, like how much is the due amount to pay to your vendors, right? So right after posting, please check the reports. Now to check reports, few transaction codes are there. There are dozens of reports. I'll show you that folder where you can check the other reports also. But as a consultant, whatever we have configured, if you really want to test whether it is up to the mark or not, whether it is correct or not, then you please check these reports by you executing these transaction codes. The very first report which I'm going to check for voucher display, that's FD03 for display document. You are already aware of it. The second report is FAGL B03 to check your sundry creditor. Why? Because sundry creditor is your GL now. Okay. Then you can go to FAGL L03 for line items. Right after these three, you can switch to FK10N. This is vendor ledger. FBL1N is the report which gives you the detail about open item, cleared item, all items, or noted items, or advances, special deal, like one. Okay. Then after this, okay, fine. You just go ahead with this as of now. The rest, if you want more reports, I'll show you that. Okay. What will be the output of this? Right after invoice, you can check open item. Why you are here after posting of an invoice? If you are posting an invoice, that means you are not clearing it, right? So what will be the result? The result is an open item which is showed as a red sign. Okay. Now next, what's next? As per time, as per due date, you have to clear those items, right? So next activity is going to be an outgoing payment. That means you are going to learn how to pay for those open items which are in your reports, right? So that's what I said. These are all end user activities. As an end user, your role is this. Now, as far as the outgoing payment is concerned, sometimes the payment is in one shot. That's it. Complete document, complete payment. That means a standard payment. What do you call in SAP? If it is a full payment, standard is nothing but full payment. Okay. The next payment method will be a partial payment. You know, sometimes you don't have budget, you don't have funds. What do? You have to manage the show, right? So you must know how to pay fast. Now the third payment is, you know, residual payment. That means pay less, clear your invoice. This is a new payment method. You'll get shocked to know what it is. The residual payment.
EMI.
Okay, no, not like that. Okay, not like a residual payment is an EMI. Okay, you have to adjust by clearing that invoice. Your invoice will get cleared, but your liability remains the same. This is a complete new activity for all those guys who are not yet exposed to SAP. Okay, no matter whichever application you have worked with earlier, but when you are working for SAP, if you have not seen this residual payment, that means this is a new activity for you. What the importance of this activity is, if you have an invoice of 1 lakh, if you are paying 25,000, system will clear your open item. That means your document type from KR will be converted into KZ. That means your invoice will get cleared, but your liability remains the same. Now the purpose is different, the reason is different, the exact business requirement is different. I'll let you know when we go here. So when it's an outgoing payment, we'll see these three categories. Okay. Now what after an outgoing payment? Obviously the reports which shows the credit balance here at the second level, those same reports will show now as a green sign, correct? The same reports is going to show the green sign. Got an idea? Yes, have you got an idea now what I'm talking about?
The open account close.
Yes. No? Okay. What? Clear accounts. Or the other adjustments. If this is just a general point what I kept here, it doesn't mean that I'm adding all those business cases which I'm about to discuss for these ones. Okay. So this is nothing but a script which I have kept in front of you guys, so that if you follow these steps, your workout will be very easy. I hope you understood. So tomorrow you should not ask me a question that what are the steps which we need to follow if you really want to work out on accounts payable configuration. Remember, this is your normal activity which we are starting accounts payable implementation, but it doesn't mean the life of accounts payable accountant, the life of a consultant in accounts payable area belongs to this. No, there are few more upcoming challenges as a consultant, as an editor, both. We'll discuss step by step. You know, I already informed you. Let's start with a small dose, then we'll go for high level of explanations. Like the way we have completed general ledger, you are aware of it, right? So let's complete this normal activity first, then we'll go for how to deal with the down payments, then how to deal with mass payments, and so on. Okay. Starting with the first point of explanation here. The first is vendor group. Any idea about this? What exactly the vendor group means here? Any idea? First we'll go for a functional discussion, then we'll talk about technical discussion, then we'll go for how to implement that with the help of code in SAP. You just give me an answer for a general level, what it is exactly. What is the meaning of vendor groups here? Yes, those guys who are coming from accounts payable department, please share your views on it.
There are different kinds of supplies, as in you're trying to categorize vendors based on, let's say, a different kind of raw materials that you are procuring from them.
Exactly, correct answer. Yes, is there anything else?
Like in payment method also we can categorize now, sir. Like 1 month, who will give credit for 1 month and 15 days, like this.
No. That is related to payment terms. Don't talk about that now. Okay. You see, in a simple words, it's a category of vendors. Now, let me write down a few categories here. And honestly speaking, if you check any blueprint in future requirement, you will find 90% of what I'm writing up here. Okay, I'm not saying 100%. Why? Because every patient is different, right? Every client's requirement is different. Maybe the categories which I'm keeping here, the most common categories which is used in regular practice. Okay, now let me put down few categories here. The first one is raw material vendor. This is my first category. That means raw material supplies. Another one is service provider. Okay. One time means this is not a regular supplier for us. Another category is a government vendor. Are you getting it? Another one is an import guy. Okay. Another one is an export guy. So these are those categories. Okay. So in general, what is this? The raw material supplier is different. Service, guys are different. One-time vendor is different. Government vendors are different. Import, export. All these are categories. Or else you can go for ship to party, bill to party also. Right. Now, like I kept all these categories in my example here. So this is general means. These are nothing but 4 groups which I have kept in front of you as an example. But it doesn't mean that only 4 groups. Majority of blueprints, what you can check, have some 7 to 8 categories or 9 or 10 categories maximum. Now, functional meaning or a general category of meaning of vendor account groups is in front of you. Now, how to create this? You have to create this for 4 characters here. Again, the same alpha numeric, alpha numeric. Now, any answers from your side that how you are going to configure 4 character code for raw material vendor for your client which we are using right now? Yes. Any answers from
Go with numeric.
Numeric? Okay. You are free to use numeric. But since there are 4, you don't have much category. You still wish to put them on numeric category?
Probably alphanumeric in that case if there's 4 categories.
I'll give you an idea. Who's my client? Who's your client right now for which we have started implementation project?
RETL, Reliance.
RETL, okay, that's nothing but Reliance Telecom, right? So the first 2 characters I would like to pick up from my client side. The other 2 characters is for my vendors. What's that?
Material. Okay.
Raw material. Okay, this is the best way to do it. Now RTSV, service. This Lejo, I hope you are getting it. Okay. Now the next one is RTOT, one-time vendor. Okay. If it is government, see some services like electricity supplies, water supplies are related to government, right? So this is how you can do it. I'm not saying no to your alphanumeric and numeric. You are still open to consider. What I said, if it is 4 characters, yes, you can represent your vendor category based on numeric level or alphanumeric or alpha. You are free to consider. But if you create in this way, that means you can easily categorize, or you can easily understand, or you can easily explain your end user, right? In future, see now at the time of implementation, while uploading vendor groups in production server, what I'll do, I'll go with these groups. Okay, I'm here to support them. Okay, I'll upload all these vendor groups or vendor masters into the production server. What if future I'm no more related to that client? Don't you think that it's your job to prepare an end user manual to hand over to the management, so that tomorrow if they have any issues or if any requirement to create a fresh vendor groups, then they can handle this responsibility on their own? That's what I said, right? MDG, Master Data Governance Team. There is a team who are responsible to look after this area. I hope, see, now you are my core team members. You are my client employees. Don't you think that you are, ready to decide the 4 characters based on category? Yes, of course. Now it's quite clear. Okay, any confusion with this? No. Now next, what I said is a number range intervals which you have to create. That means an indicator which you have to plan. Okay. Now, there are two categories again into number range. First, may I switch these three if you don't mind? Because again I got some inputs about this number range in my mind. What do you know about number range? Internal, external, numeric, alphanumeric, that's what, right? Now one more category is there. Now if you are creating a number range at client level, okay, a number range at company code level. These are all certification level questions. Remember this. Now mostly this belongs to document postings, and these are, this is always at company code level. That's the reason when I have shooted a transaction code FBN1, I hope you got that right. See the transaction code FBN1. If I am using a transaction code FBN1, the first input what we have seen, I'll show you. Let this system get back to the normal mode. The first we have given company code, then we have clicked on number range intervals, right? I'll go with transaction code FBN1. See, this is the most important technical question which is expected from any interviewer. Can you see this? So I am here. I'm about to create number ranges for documents, and document is always posted at company code level. Have you seen header data? We have used transaction code F-02, right, to post the general ledger. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
No confusion, right? So in header we have mentioned a company code and currency. So here also I need REGL, then first company code, then I'll go for intervals, right? See? So based on these indicators we will go for it. As far as these indicators are concerned, as I told you, SAP has given standard, you can use standard. If it is not, you can create your own 2 characters. That means number range is to be created with 2 character indicator, whether it is at the document level or whether it is at company code level to post the documents or at group level for client support. Now the other example which I would like to keep in front of you guys, which is at group level, and when you are creating number ranges for group level, no concern for company codes. The best example is OBD4. What's that? Account group. See, can you see any company code here? This is at chart of account level, and I can assign chart of account to n number of companies. Is it clear? How many chart of accounts can be assigned to one company code? Take your time, huh? Don't be spontaneous to give me the answer. I repeat my question. How many chart of accounts you can assign to the company code?
Only one, sir.
Only one. That's the right answer. And how many company codes you can assign to one chart of account? The opposite answer. Got it?
Many.
Yes. Many company codes I can assign to chart of account. That's the reason. That's the reason there is no company code mentioned here. Why? This is at group. That means these number ranges, whatever you have created, is at client level. And those number ranges which you have created at FBN1 to record a document, that is at company code level. That's the difference of this explanation which I kept in front of you. Got it? I hope you understood this. These are group. That means now how my question is related to accounts payable. That means now I'm creating a raw material group. Raw material group. Now this raw material group I have created at client level. That means in one client there are multiple company codes, right? Like Reliance Telecom. This is my one client. Another one, Reliance. Another is what? Reliance Chemicals. Okay. Another one, Reliance Tours and Travels or Tourism. right? So that means 3 company codes. So if I create this group of raw material, yes, is it like that if it is not a raw material group or some other like service group? Okay, I'll go with service group, service vendor. Now, is there any rule that when I provide my services, suppose I am an internet service provider, I am giving a backup to Reliance Telecommunication. As an example, अब फिर बाद में don't try to say that Reliance का खुद का internet service है, then why we are, this is just an example. So, this is my client, one client. Then is it not possible that the same service provider is going to handle Reliance Chemical and Reliance Tourism? Yes, do you understand? That's the reason whenever you are going to create number range at group level, this is the reason. Okay, now whenever you are creating a number range for company code level, that is what? Posting of document. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Number range created for group is at client level, and one client, multiple company codes. Now number range, it is created for document, that is only at company code level. So again, 2 type of number range. First 2 type of number range, internal, external. But again in external 2 type of number range, one is numeric, alphanumeric. Again 2 type of number range interval, one is at client level, another is company code level. These are all interview questions. Please note these questions in your document. May I proceed further? If it is done. Okay. So here, first I have to decide an indicator. What's that indicator? I'll go for RM. Yes, you understood that? Any 2 character code, whether it is alpha, numeric or alphanumeric. Are you getting me? Now, if there are 4 categories of raw material suppliers, then you can go for R1, R2, R3, R4. Is it clear? Any 2 character which represents your number range indicator. Now for raw material category, my number range indicator is RM. Now in RM, I have to give the range, that how many raw material suppliers are there in my company. That means, suppose if one supplier is not sufficient to supply the quantity which I am expecting for my production requirement, then what I'll do? I'll try to fulfill the gap with other vendors. Is it clear now? So if tomorrow your management may ask, will you please bring me the list of raw material vendors who are with us right now? Why? Because we need to dispatch 1 lakh quantity of some raw material. Then what? Now sometimes it is possible to supply by one vendor, and sometimes the number of quantity which you are looking for may be supplied by 20 vendors or 50 vendors. Are you getting me? So how many vendors? So you can give the range as 1 to 1000 for raw material vendor. Now if it is service vendor, then you can start from 1001 to 2000. So when you are giving this range is nothing but your vendor identity in a system. Suppose I am creating my first vendor who is a raw material category. Okay, like XYZ. Okay, private limited. Okay, XYZ company. Who is he? My first vendor. What's the idea of this vendor? 1. Suppose I got a service vendor, then I'll go with ABC. Now what will be the ID for ABC? 1001. This is my first vendor. Now if I am creating second service vendor, 1002, third 1003, then 1004, 1005, like that. How many service vendors and how many raw material vendors I can create like that? 1000 in each. Is it clear now? Now, okay, let me give you an exposure of blueprint again. Please don't share this recording outside. Why? Because these are certain confidential documents which I am sharing with you to get a live exposure. Sometimes what happens, you are my close and you have someone who is very close to you. Maybe some girlfriends, maybe some best friends, maybe some, Mawadu Chalo nahi, right? So don't try to share these with those persons who are not trustworthy. Why? Because these are those confidential documents which I am trying to share with you guys to boost your confidence to deal with your project managers or interviewers or client rounds and all. Otherwise, I'll simply go with this presentation. That's enough for you guys. I hope you understood, and please keep it confidence. Let this open, then immediately I'll share with you what it is. Let's see what's there in this blueprint for it. Can you see that? It's a business blueprint which is created for one of the projects. Let me bring down to show you the group. If this document is having certain groups of vendors, so it will be quite easy for you to understand what we have just discussed. Maybe this will help you. All these are vendor requirements. Can you see that? How many are there? Domestic, import, service, employee. Yes, of course, employees also comes under vendor category. Vendor as a customer, customer is a vendor, one-time vendor. Can you see that? How many are there? 6. But still what I'm saying is, sometimes 6, sometimes 10, sometimes 12, based on requirement. Now what I told you, can you see this? ZDOM. This is nothing but a 4-character code which represents their domestic vendor. Now look at the number range. They have taken from 1 lakh to 1,99,999. What's the number range category? Internal. Internal. That means how many domestic vendors they are expecting to be created into the system? 1 lakh. 1 lakh. For import category, 1 lakh. For service category, 1 lakh. Okay. As far as the employee is concerned, alphanumeric, and that is external. Why? Because every employee is represented with an ID, right? So ID you might have seen alphanumeric code. That's the reason they are using external, and look at the range what they have given. Got it? So as a customer, then again 1 lakh. Now one time standard. Okay, got it? See, I have given this live presentation. Now I hope the vendor category, indicator, number ranges, everything is clear now. Okay. Now the next point here is it clear? What's the number range indicator and how to create number range and all? This is your second point. Now the way next is you have to assign your indicators to your group. That means your indicators you are assigning to the groups. That means whenever you assign these indicators to your group, and when you are creating vendor master data under this group, that means number ranges will be picked up from this category. Suppose if I am creating ABC under RTSP, what will be my first vendor ID? 1000. The same if I am trying to create a raw material vendor under this particular group, who will be my first vendor? Number 1. Clear now?
Yes, sir.
I'll keep them here. Don't worry. Let me be more clear. RETF, right? And what is this RETF? My company code, right? Now my group RT RN. What's that indicator which you have to assign? RM. That means if your group is raw material, your indicator is RM. If your group is service, RT, SV, then your indicator will be SV. Now, if in service there are dozens of categories of services. Maybe the hardware maintenance service provider is different. Maybe software maintenance is different. Maybe AC repair maintenance different. Maybe building maintenance different. Right? Likewise, we have multiple service providers who render service. Right? So if you have multiple category of services, then go for S1, S2, S3, S4, or any two character, maybe 11, 12, 13, 14 like that, maybe 01, 02, 03, 04 like that. Is it clear now? Okay. Now this was your third point. And now regarding this tolerance, we just need to give company code and a description. That's it. Your tolerance group will be created. As far as your restrictions is concerned, for gain and loss limits, please discuss with your procurement one side, on another side SD guys. Why? Because I told you earlier that these are those people who are going to interact directly with vendors and customers. So they know what will be the limit and what will be the difference in amount to be considered for clearing a document. Right? So what we'll do in tolerance group is we'll give the company code, we'll give the description of tolerance group, we'll leave those fields like that. Let them come forward to give the restrictions. Or else, creation of tolerance group is very much important. If you skip this step, system will not allow you to clear the payment. Yes, so one time you can create the invoice, but your payment will not get cleared. The main purpose of implementation in accounts payable department is to look after the payment itself. If the main concern is not going to cover, then what will be the purpose of implementation? I hope you understood. So these are nothing but the limits in tolerance group. Okay. Now the next concern is your send creditor as a reconciliation. Now you got somewhere around 5,000 to 1 lakh vendors. How many? How many? 1 lakh vendors. Now how many send creditors which you have to create for them? What is send creditor? Reconciliation account. And your reconciliation have always dual effect. The best example I gave you yesterday about GRIR. Right? If you are using reconciliation as a debit on one side, immediately the credit effect will be there in your next process. Dual effect for reconciliation account. Reconciliation account is auto posted by the system, and reconciliation account is considered as a sub ledger, and you are not authorized or you are not allowed to post any entry directly into reconciliation account. That's what I said. See, I purchased raw material from one vendor. Some name will be there, right? So if I'm an accountant recording an entry like this, purchase to sundry creditor, right? Imagine, just as an example, assume that your accountant has posted this entry, purchase account debit to sundry creditor, or some people used to say accounts payable as credit, creditor as credit. Now what you are going to do? Is this entry is correct? Is this entry is correct? If how many of you are agreed with this entry? Is it correct? Sometimes some people
GRIR clearing.
No concern about GRIR. That is related to stock that is done. I'm talking from finance perspective. Here what I'm trying to focus is sundry creditor, and it's a pure financial activity. We don't have nothing to do with GRIR. GRIR is a separate activity which is already discussed. Let's focus on journal entry. Do you agree that this entry is correct? No. You need a name of a vendor, right?
Yeah.
You need a name of a vendor. Suppose, okay, JP Morgan. This is my vendor. Now the moment I put this entry, okay, automatically sentry creditor will get updated. Why? Because I told you, whenever you create a vendor master record, you have to assign this reconciliation account to your vendor master account. Got it? Now my question was something different. My question was, if there are 1 lakh vendors for any of your clients, now multiple categories, do you think that one sentry creditor is enough? As far as your interview question is concerned, I don't know how your interviewers are going to, raise this question. Suppose if you are facing with SCL or HP, Accenture, Capgemini, Siemens, SAP Labs, okay, the other consulting companies. Okay, I don't know what will be the way they are going to ask this question, but most common question is, how many reconciliation accounts you can create for vendors? Is it only one or more than one? If it is only one, why? If it is more than one, why? What will be the reason? How will you justify this question?
More than one, because there are many types of sundry creditors, like for raw materials.
Exactly. The first line of your answer is correct. Now, please complete your answer so that I must be satisfied as an interviewer. Imagine I'm your client and try to satisfy with complete answer. You said that different categories. Okay. Tomorrow you are going to create sundry creditor raw materials, sundry creditor services, sundry creditor one-time, sundry creditor government. This is the way. Okay, that's 100% correct answer. But still, this is 50%. What will be the purpose, or what will be the reason to create multiple reconciliations? See, you can't criticize me if I say I'll create one sundry creditor and I'll handle my accounts. Okay, sir, I'll salute you. You are 100% correct. But if you say in next moment that, okay, I'll go with 4 sundry creditors. Okay, I'll say, yes, sir, you're 100% correct. Then what will be the main purpose of dividing it into multiple categories? That's my concern. हाँ भाई, accounts payable accountants చెప్పండి, 6 years 7 years exposure, huh? Now think about that, how many years of experience you are going to claim in your profile when you are going to complete this. Why? Because you are the subject matter experts. You are accounts payable specialist when you are crossing your 5 years, 6 years of experience life in this department, and still you are not. See, this question has nothing to do with your SAP or Oracle or JD Edwards or any of ERPs. This is a pure accounting question.
To create aging analysis would be one.
Okay, I'll take this. But still, that cream, what I'm trying to figure out from the entire team is missing. What's that cream? Though these inputs are 100% correct. Rajesh, Malia, ఏమైందప్పా? ఏం లేవా డిస్కషన్ చేయడానికి? Do you have anything to discuss on this? बोलो भाई शब्बीर, बिल्कुल खामोश है. Okay, let me complete this. This will help you to close your, accounts faster. Suppose tomorrow you are sitting for reconciliation. Imagine if you are keeping all your vendors in one account. Now it's all a mess, right? It's all a mess. Now, the moment you categorize the same sundry creditor with these groups, like sundry creditor, raw material, separate, so it is easy for you to reconcile your accounts. Okay, the first one, and to close your accounts, and to take an exact confirmation of the category. Is it clear or not? Sometimes management want to figure out that what sum of amount which we owe to the government. Now, are you going to check the sundry creditor and pull out each and every vendor which you have assigned to one particular group? No. It's very easy for you if you categorize this according to RTGV, sundry creditor. You just go to FHGL B03. You call that general ledger which you have created with sundry creditor in bracket GV, sundry creditor in bracket RM, SV, OT. I hope it's clear now. Is it clear? So remember that question. Is it possible to create multiple reconciliation accounts? Say yes. If it is yes, then what all those categories and what will be the benefit of creating such different categories of general ledger?
Sir, can you
The
come
first
again,
option.
sir?
Sorry,
Sir, can you come again, sir?
it's already on record. See, first, why multiple reconciliations? And first, they may ask the same question in a different way, like, is it possible to create multiple reconciliations? Say yes. If yes, then what are the examples? The best examples are in front of you. I hope it's clear. Okay, now how it helps, I just spoken about that. Clear now? The first option, keep one sundry creditor and assign to all categories. Maybe there are 8 or 10. Maybe there are 1 lakh or 2 lakh vendors. Assign the same sundry creditors. But tomorrow, if you are having a requirement from a manager to figure out or come out with a specific category to know the open items, then it will be a very painful activity for you to pull out all those open items from this particular place. Is it clear? Okay,
Yes,
that's
sir.
all about a reconciliation account. That is a first double check. Now moving further to vendor master data. Now I told you one side you can create vendor which is exclusively used for finance. That means you are a financial accountant. You are a financial accountant. You have been given a responsibility to post purchase entries. That means when there is no integration between FI and MM, that means third party application is used for procurement. Okay, where vendors exist. Now you just got a printout. Now what you have to do? You have to check whether that vendor master is already there in your data. If no, then please go to FK01 transaction code and create vendor which is used for financial posting. Now, like I said, for finance, different vendor, for MM, different vendor. If a vendor is exclusively used only in MM, no concern for finance, then go for MK01. But as I said, if it is FI and MM, both are integrated, means there is an integration and it must be an integration. See, okay, let me use another screen. That is quite easy for you to explain more. Let's take our client is a manufacturing client. What do you think that how many modules that they need as a manufacturing client? I already explained this earlier. My client is a manufacturing company. Finance is compulsory.
SD,
Finance is compulsory. Okay. MM compulsory. Yes. And
Controlling
SD is also
SD.
compulsory. Yes. SD is also compulsory. Right. Another side,
CO.
SCM is also required. Okay.
Yes, sir.
SCM is also required, and it depends. They want to go for supplier relationship management, supply chain management, customer relationship management. It's on interest. Now, let me come to the conclusion here. Now, what I said is, if there is no integration between these two, they have implemented only FI. There is no implementation of MM. Then what? Right? If there is no integration, you are going to create FK01 for finance use. If it is only in MM, MK01. If it is a central use, that means when this guy has recorded MIRO, M-I-R-O, you want this invoice immediately updated in finance. Why? Because you can reduce that paperwork, you can reduce that duplicate entry to avoid duplication. If there is no integration, what happens? Duplication is possible. If there is an integration, minimum risk of duplication entries. Now, what do I mean about duplication? See, If there is no integration, what happens? These guys will prepare one Excel sheet for all those invoices what they have received, and at the end of the week or at the end of the month or at the end of the day, they used to send this list of invoices to the FI department. Now they will open an Excel sheet. They will try to feed those invoices by using a transaction code F-43 if it is a complex entry, if it is an edge of posting, FB60. Are you getting it? If there is an integration, these duplications are less. So what happens if you want to use the same vendor in finance for payments as well, then please go for XK01. What is the use? This will help you to maintain your vendor at central level, or in general this will help you in integration. I hope that's very much clear now. When we are about to implement this in SAP, when that screen appears, I'll let you know how and what all those components which are different in each screen. Hope you got this. Any confusion? I'm really sorry.
No, sir.
That's the reason. That's the reason. This is for only ECC. In ECC, this is the methodology. But now this is no more. These all transaction codes is obsolete. You know what is the meaning of obsolete? Obsolete is nothing but they have removed this transaction in S4HANA. What happens in S4HANA is they are maintaining a concept called BP. This is not blood pressure, business partner concept. That means one master data, one detail, and one roof. Is it clear? Business partner concept. Such a big concept and a very interesting concept. If you are really upgrading to S4HANA right after this, then it will be quite good for you to deal with your future clients and future implementations as well. Is it clear? What I told you here is no more XK01, MK01 and FK01 is required. I'm talking about only master data creation. I'm not talking about the postings. Miro still in SAP S4HANA same. F-43, FB60 is also same. I'm talking about only master data creation. That means these three transaction codes along with other FK02, FK03, display, block, delete, set for deletion, all those transaction codes. Maybe somewhere around 20 to 25 transaction codes are no more, which is used in SAC. Now when it comes to S4HANA, only one transaction code, that is BP. This is transaction code. BP is a transaction code which is used to create your vendors, to create your business partner, to create your customers. This is a concept, moreover you can figure out as CVI, customer and vendor integration, CVI concept. Okay, let's not put my hands into S4HANA now, because you are going to get confused. But still, this is required for you guys to be aware of. I hope I did a good job here by keeping this point also, so that you must know what's the difference. Why? Because all of a sudden, if you got the call and you'll be raised the question like, what's the difference between S4HANA and ECC for these vendor and customer creation? Is there any new feature which that S4 has come up with? Yes, you can tell them that yes, now business partner concept is mandatory. Okay, so that's all about the details of vendor master creation. So when we start practicals, we will see some more points as well. Any confusion about FI level, MM level, and central level? Is any confusion? Clear. Okay. Now, as far as these document types are concerned, I told you about KR, KZ, KA. What's this? It's a vendor invoice, then vendor payment, vendor document. That means whenever you are trying to clear the document, then maybe some advances you have taken, and you are trying to adjust that advance with a payment. That means you are trying to convert your asset into a liability, okay, or you are trying to convert your liability into an asset. Then you are changing the document, right? So KA will come into picture. Got it? So if there is no number ranges is created for these documents, now how much is the range which we have started configuration for each document?
Till 3000, sir.
No. I'm talking about a range which we have used in each document type.
1,000,
right?
1,000 each.
1,000.
Yeah.
Now, Do you think that for a live client, imagine I'm trying to create 19 and this is for 2021. Okay, now how much will be the range for vendor invoice? Any expectation? For the time being,
on client, sir.
I'm going to keep depends on client. I'm going to keep only 1,000 as a range. Okay, our training is done. You keep this aside. Now let's talk about a live environment. That how many documents? That Shabir has given a diplomatic answer and he escaped.
No, sir. Actually, we voucher
Please don't
like
mind.
2 lakh invoices per month, sir.
कहीं आप बोलेंगे आप दिल पे ले लेंगे बोले कि हाँ अनवर ने को ऐसा बोल दिया. So it's nothing to be taken as serious.
No, sir.
Sometimes I have
sir,
to be strict. Why? Because I have to train you how to act when you sit in front of the client. See, if your client says 1 lakh, if he says 1 lakh, please create 2 lakhs. Why? Because who knows? Nobody predicts the business, right? Whether there may be a profit or there may be a losses. What if they cross 1 lakh invoices? System will start giving an error. No document number range exists. Then, do you wish to see that phase? No. So if they are coming with a requirement of 1 lakh, please go for 2 lakh. In live environment. Okay. We have one blueprint open, right? So let me show you that case. So when we are now vendor group is clear, let me go up where my document types are there. Easily for each document 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs will be there. Or minimum 1 lakh. This is here, just in case. Now this is what I am talking about, this document types. Can you see that? This is a blueprint where they'll decide what sum of range is required for this client. Can you see that? KR, what is KR? Vendor invoice. KZ, vendor payment. KA, vendor document. All three are here. KG, what I told you about credit memo. So all four are in the regular practice now. Now check out this. What's the range? What they have taken as a range? Can you please figure out these details? How much is the range?
1 million, sir. 10 lakhs?
1 million. 1 million, yes, exactly, 10 lakhs. I got you. Now, sometimes, see, if you try to, check out this, there is no difference between invoice and payments. That means the number of invoices, the number of payments. Do you think this logic is good? Do you think this logic is good? Now you can criticize me, sir, this is the live group and how can we criticize them? Yes, still I can figure out that what went wrong in this business blueprint. This document is not prepared by my team. We are just trying to support this client. This is implemented by third party, not by us. But still, to support this client, we need the patient history, right? So that patient history is in front of us. So that the way it is implemented, we can easily figure out that what went wrong to support them for future tickets. That's the only reason this document is with me right now. Otherwise, I'm no more associated with this company. Yes, please. Do you think that something is there missing here? The number of invoices, the number of payments. Do you think that this equal proportion is good? If no, then please give me the answer. What is the best solution which you would like to add here? Yes, Rajesh.
Maybe we get more invoices, sir, but we do payment less. For some invoices we don't.
I'll make your job easier. Now, invoice point of view, I have decided. What about payments? And still you people are not on that particular point. There is nothing in your mind. I have put my cursor there so that you must get the solution for this. I'm really sorry. Actually, I should not supposed to take it so high level the way I'm moving right now. I'm really sorry for that. If you want to be at some low level, I'm ready for that also. But I myself is not satisfied. I don't know about you guys. That's the reason I'm asking these kind of painful questions. I'm sorry for that. Yes, please. I hope that you people are really enjoying this kind of discussions. Then only you are going to be a consultant. Otherwise, what? Yes, Lejo. Still no answer. Listen carefully now. Okay, I got you that you got 10 lakh invoices. Is it a condition that each invoice is paid in full payment?
No, sir. No, sir.
Got it?
No.
Then what that means? 10 lakh invoice, 10 lakh payment. Is this strategy a good strategy?
No, sir. Maybe the double KZ and
that
reduce
means
KR.
sometimes one invoice is break into 4. That means 1:4 number range for payment. If 1:4, then 10 lakhs is to 4.
40 million.
Correct? Exactly.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
do you think this strategy is still okay? No.
No,
Remember
sir.
that. Now, why they are still stick to this? Because maybe the invoice requirement is only 1 lakh. Maybe the payment is 10 lakh. That's what I told you, right? They will take 10 characters, they will use only 4. If for that purpose, it's okay. But what if the business is actually utilizing this number range? Then there will be 100% chance that they'll get stuck up in payments. Is it clear now? That's the reason. I'll accept this business blueprint and I'll sign off this business blueprint for a client side. If there are 1 lakh invoices, maximum 1 lakh invoices posted for this client, and I'll accept this. So they have created more, okay, but as far as the payment concerned, okay, this is more than enough. But what if 10 lakhs invoices is the exact usage, or out of 10 lakhs, 9 lakhs is commonly, posted every year? Then what? Do you think this strategy is okay? No. Please always create more range compared to your invoice. Is it clear now? Yes, any answers still from your side? I hope you got the logic, what I am trying to figure out of these two documents.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Got it, right? Okay. So that's all for your number ranges as well. So you know how to create number ranges. Clear? Okay. The rest all, the rest points, posting of vendor invoice is nothing but, posting of purchase invoice. Now what will be that entry? The normal rule of posting key which I have to use for vendor is posting key 25 is used to debit the vendor, and posting 31 is used to credit the vendor. Now what will be the entry for purchases? Obviously
25. 25 purchases, 31 vendor's name.
Vendors.
please think twice before delivering your answer. Read it carefully. There is a twist. There is a twist here. That's the reason you are sitting with me. Arey nahi, bhai, I'm talking. My question is concerned for posting key.
25 and 40. Right, I got it.
Got it?
Yeah.
Are still confused?
Yes.
Why
No,
40?
I got it.
Purchase is GL. Purchase is GL. So according to the posting key for GL, 40 is to debit, 50 is to credit. Now, why I have used 31? Because according to The posting key rules, which is vendor. If vendor is crediting, then 31. Purchase is GL. So what is the GL law? 40 for debit, 50 for credit. Purchase is getting debited, so 40. Your vendor, you look at these two posting keys is exclusively for vendor. I have never ever mentioned GL in my lines. Got it or still confused? Got it?
Clear, sir. Got it.
Shabir,
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
got it or not?
Yes,
ये
sir.
40 GL
Yes, sir,
का
got
है,
it, sir.
and this 31 from here. Okay, what will be the payment entry? If it is got it, then you must answer me the payment document. What is the payment entry? Lego.
Uh, 3150 bank.
Okay. Why 31 again?
Not 31. So it is 25. Sir. I think 25 is the debit.
Sorry, yes. Yeah, 25, 50.
And the 50 is the bank account.
Yes, sir.
This is the gain of posting key if you are using complex. Is it clear or still confused?
Clear, sir.
Clear, clear.
This other
Yes,
guys,
sir.
Malia, Rajesh, Hari, Swaroop, or कौन है यार? I'm not seeing the attendees. That's the reason. Clear now? I hope these are all points are clear for you guys. Let's see tomorrow to implement this directly into SAP. Okay, I think for today, this is more than enough. Okay, please note down these entries and the script and all those points what we have discussed in your document. Please prepare the documents parallelly because it will be a big mess for you if you are planning to prepare documents later. Please prepare your documents on the same day and work out on the same day if it is practically implemented in SAP. Okay. Yes, I'm done for the day. You are free to raise your queries, if any. If any questions, if it is clear, I'll close the call. I just have 10 minutes left to log in into my account for filtering.
Clear, sir.
My
Okay.
side, yes.
I'll catch you
Yes, sir.
tomorrow
Clear.
at the same time for
Yeah.
implementation of these points. Huh?
Okay.
That's all today. Bye for now.
Thank
Bye.
you, sir.